my journey of how I finally became an entrepreneur by working for one of the world's largest banks. And so my journey actually starts before I was even born. My parents immigrated from India in the late 70s, and my dad at the time, he wasn't very educated. He never attended college, didn't even graduate high school, was working 3 jobs in order to survive. And so part-time, he was working at JFK International, helping folks check in for their flights. The days he wasn't doing that, he was working at a local alcohol distribution company as a salesman. And at nights, he was bussing tables at an Indian restaurant in his neighborhood. And so by working at both the Indian restaurant and the alcohol distribution company, my dad saw an opportunity that most had missed. Indian restaurants in the US at that time wanted to serve their patrons with Indian food, but also wanted to pair it with Indian beer and wine and spirits, but had no way to do so. Nobody in the US at that time was importing Indian-made liquor. And so what my dad did while working at 3 jobs, started his own company to just do that, import beer and liquor into the United States. And so if we flash forward about 20 years, I'm at USD. I'm studying engineering, and I'm trying to figure out my journey and what I want to do. The last thing I want to do is become a corporate stooge. I don't want to wear a tie to work every day. I don't want to do a 9 to 5. I want to be an entrepreneur. And so while I have that feeling, I'm thinking about what I want to do. A huge technological event happens in our lives. Can anyone guess what that is? iPhone. Yes, I'm glad somebody said that and not the internet. I'm not that old. The iPhone was launched, and that was a catalyst for new businesses all over the world. And to say I was obsessed is an understatement. And so I tried to do everything I could. I saw these companies like Instagram, Snapchat, Square take off. They had millions of users, multi-millions of dollars in fundings, and their founders who were like me, they're college students just like me, were being recognized as some of the world's best entrepreneurs and the businessmen or women of the future. And I wanted to be like that. I wanted to have that recognition, own that business, and have a product that millions of people used. And so I tried to recreate the success that they had and the ingredients to the success they had. I did just about everything. I contacted classmates, found programmers, designers, anything to help me create my vision and really launch a product. I did just about everything other than drop out of college. I'm pretty sure my parents would have killed me. But so I ended up starting 4 different businesses over the course of 6 to 7 years. And you know what? All 4 of those businesses had one thing in common. They all failed. We had some successes along the way, but majority of them failed because I couldn't sustain the revenue. I couldn't get the customers I wanted. I couldn't retain my employees. And so I looked at myself at 27 years old, and I was like, shit, I failed. I got to put this entrepreneurship thing on hold. And go and finally get a real job. And so coming to terms with that was actually very difficult for me, and it was very hard. And so I started trying to do interviews, send out applications. And the one thing I learned is that no one wants to hire a 27-year-old who has no work experience other than working for himself. And so it was very difficult for me. And finally, through just some mutual contacts, family, friends, I got an opportunity to apply to a job at HSBC in Hong Kong. Never thought I would ever move to Hong Kong, and said, you know what, why not, let's try it out. And so after several rounds of interviews, I was given the opportunity to become the first product manager on the innovation team at HSBC in Hong Kong. And so I came here, moved here, was part of a very small team. There was only about 10 of us, and we were tasked at coming up with a solution that had to defend Hong Kong from some of the mainland Chinese tech companies coming in that were going to steal market share from HSBC in payments, in financial services, and HSBC right now in Hong Kong is one of their most profitable markets, so it was a big task for us. And so we were tasked with this kind of problem to solve. So we looked at the market and looked at what could we do to solve this problem and really grow a product in Hong Kong. And so at the time, in around 2015 to 2016, sending money in Hong Kong to one another, if you weren't the same bank or you wanted to split the bill, was very difficult. You had to either have cash, if you didn't have cash, you had to go into internet banking. For those of you in Hong Kong, you're probably used to this very sexy thing called a dongle that you have to type in a code to get into your internet banking. Some of you guys are nodding. Yeah, it was very difficult and it was cumbersome. And if you weren't the same bank, you were charged a fee. It was expensive. So there was nothing like Venmo. So we basically created the Venmo of Hong Kong. In just under 2 years, we grew the app to over 1.5 million customers. It is one of the top-rated apps in Hong Kong, and I've been so fortunate to see the success. I mean, we're going toe-to-toe now with some of the Alipays and the WeChat Pays of the world. Now that they're coming into Hong Kong, we're starting to do payments to businesses beyond just peer-to-peer. And so the lesson that I learned through all of this was that entrepreneurship is not about owning your own business. It's not about being your own boss. And it's not about having the successes and the recognition of it. It's about trying to just solve a problem, trying to find an opportunity or a underserved market need and trying to incrementally make your customers' lives better. And what's ironic is that I should have learned this lesson 30 years ago. My dad did that, but it took me going through the struggle of trying to be an entrepreneur, failing multiple times at it, and then finally getting a lucky break, moving to a place I had never been to in my life, taking that kind of leap of faith and working with a great organization, an amazing team, to finally become an entrepreneur and what I like to call an intrapreneur. Thank you.